Welcome, everyone. We are here at the campaign kickoff for Sandy Roberson. Sandy Roberson for mayor, I believe. Hey, Sandy.
Hey, how are you doing, Sandra?
I'm doing great, and so glad to see you tonight.
Well, thank you. It's absolutely wonderful that you guys are here, and thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit. I know you're going to do this later, and we'll see this later on WHIG, but tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm a Rocky Mount native, third generation here. I'm a Rocky Mount senior high graduate, class of '85. I hope there are a lot of Griffons out there. Kind of supports. Yeah, that's right. And graduated from Hampton City College in 1989. Came back to Rocky Mount. Worked for a number of businesses, created several businesses, and raised my family here. And frankly, just love the community and all that it's about. So, that's really the nutshell who I am. And of course, I can go into much greater detail later. But here's what I know. I love Rocky Mount, and I believe in it. And I remember the fondest memories of my childhood. And I believe that we have every opportunity to be absolutely great.
Well, how did this happen, your mayoral interest in this race? Did you wake up one day and just say, well, I'm going to run for mayor? How did this happen?
I wish there were a burning bush moment, but the reality is something very different. I just got to a place that I was experiencing all this negativity, and I'm hearing my peer group, friends, and others just complaining about Rocky Mount. And it's not that we're not without warts, because we are, but I just got tired of that. And I said, well, somebody's got to do something. And so, I just said, put me in, coach. Let's go try to do something, make a difference. And it's really about leadership. It's about communication. It's about transparency. And I believe all these things are something that we can do. And it's not that hard.
How do you think you can make a difference in Rocky Mount?
I think it really just starts with creating a vision. And I believe it starts with establishing a relationship with everybody who lives in Rocky Mount. And in my experience in leadership roles, it really comes down to transparency. So you have to know who I am, believe in the vision, believe in me. We have to own this together, because it's not a Sandy Roberson thing. This is a community thing. And all I'm trying to be is a catalyst to try to, basically take Rocky Mount, get everybody excited, energized about it, so that it's not just a once every 4-year election cycle thing, so that it's not just when things are happening good or bad, but that we're engaged on a consistent and constant basis.
You're a very successful businessman. How can you use your success in business to help us?
Well, Sandra, I think it really comes down to this. So thank you very much. It's been a wonderful experience that I've had growing up and engaged in business in the last 30 years or so. And I know what it's like to sit on the other side of the table when you're talking about bringing jobs into a community and talking with very civic leaders, influence brokers, and people of significance in a community, and talking and understanding really what they want. And because of that experience, because I understand the risk involved, I think that if I'm sitting on the other side of the table, that I can bring the right mix of experience and understanding in a way that we can explain and perhaps sell this, if you will, to everybody involved. And, because of that, I really want to be part of this story, because I think I can be a tremendous help in that process.
How can people get in touch with you?
Well, you can call, you can email me at sandy@sandyroberson.com. And you can call. I also have a number that I'll have to give you, Sandra, later, because I haven't quite committed it to memory yet. But, call me, email me, text me, Facebook me, show up at my doorstep, not too late or too early. But I would love to entertain everybody. And I think really that's something we need to talk about. This is about community involvement. This is about understanding what we want. And there's a wisdom in a collective thought process. So while, it can be challenging to hear a number of opinions on a consistent, constant basis, there's great value and wisdom in that. And so it makes Wikipedia one of the more successful and more accurate sources of information in the world. And so I think that's really what we're looking for as a community. So I want to hear.
Well, I know folks tonight are looking forward to meeting Sandy Roberson, so we'll let you go. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Sandy graduated and went to Rocky Mount Senior High. And I saw him play football out there. And Sandy, like me, I'm glad you didn't give up your day job. After graduating from senior high, he went to Hampton, Sydney, where he got a BA degree. And guess what? Political science. I don't believe he had a clue that he would ever be in politics, that he would ever run for mayor. He was president of his fraternity. He was a scholar, and upon graduating, he returned to Rocky Mount to join the family business, which ran a group of nursing homes, and Sandy became the director of operations over a period of time, ultimately having responsibility for about a $35 million budget and over 1,000 employees. Now, Sandy saw things in nursing homes that we've all seen. He saw suffering at end of life. And it's not a pleasant thing to see. I just lost a brother-in-law who was in hospice for a couple of weeks. But Sandy had a vision of opening a place for people that were in the final months of their life. And I think it took some time, Sandy, for him to convince his mother and daddy to open a hospice. And having been a banker, I can tell you the first couple of years in business are very challenging, and most people tend to lose money, and I don't think Sandy was any exception. I believe his daddy was about ready to shut down the door when he appealed to his dad to let's just try it a little bit longer. And as Paul Harvey says, let me tell you the rest of the story. He grew that hospice into being the largest hospice home health care in the state of North Carolina, and with his business partner had revenues over $100 million. Now that's the kind of entrepreneurial spirit that we need as a mayor. Now, fortunately, his success did not go unnoticed. And he and his business partner got an offer that was just too good to turn down. And he ended up selling it, which is our blessing here in Rocky Mount, because it has given him time to devote to what he's now doing, returning back to his community what his community has done for him. He's not retired. He still has an investment company, which he does very well in, but it doesn't take all of his time, so he's able to do what he's doing here tonight. I feel like Sandy is a member of my family. I feel like Judy and her husband Max are just like brothers and sisters to me. And Sandy's children, one of them I've introduced, Trey. Chuck is a senior in high school. Where are you, Chuck? And he's got twin daughters, Mary Beth and PJ. I don't know whether they're here. I think I have seen Mary Beth. There you are. Just a wonderful family, and he's engaged to a beautiful lady by the name of Jennifer Stone. I know Jennifer's here. Where are you, Jennifer? Right. Well, you didn't come to hear me. I wanted you to know a little bit about your background. I told Sandy that I was going to brag on him because I don't think a person running for elected office ought to brag on themselves. If you want to know more, I can tell you a lot more about Sandy. But you're here to hear Sandy Roberson, the next mayor of Rocky Mount. So join me in a warm welcome for Sandy Roberson.
Wow. Can everybody hear me? You know, that just shortened my speech by about 10 minutes. So we'll hit the cliff notes. We'll be a good Presbyterian minister here, get you out of here in no time. I got to tell you, I'm overwhelmed looking around the room, just seeing all my friends, people I don't know who've come to meet, people who care about this community, and it's overwhelming. And I was telling someone, I didn't think there was enough beer and barbecue to get somebody here for a political event, 6 o'clock on a Friday in the rain. And yet you persevered. So thank you so much. You have no idea how that really reaches and touches me. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're officially launching my campaign tonight. And I believe this campaign is about our city's future and our hope. And it belongs to each and every one of you, each and every one of us who are residents of the city of Rocky Mount. And I'm excited about the future to come. It's not that we haven't been without some challenges, but really, I think administration and leadership is about building trust and understanding with every citizen in the city of Rocky Mount. It's a relationship just like any other, right? And what's required of a relationship is transparency. It's a conversation. It's an understanding of how does the whole become greater than the individual. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I want to bring to Rocky Mount. It's what I believe Rocky Mount can be, and it's where we should be headed. So, one of the things when I look at my hometown, your hometown, city that we love, we live in, is I see a vulnerability, an internal vulnerability in the city of Rocky Mount. You know, and it all too often bears a face of fear, perhaps anger, compounded by uncertainty and perhaps even unforgiveness. You know, and that vulnerability is clouding our judgment, is clouding our ability to see our vision and preventing positive growth and opportunity within our community. Not only for Rocky Mount, but absolutely everybody who lives in the city. Our population has declined approximately 15% over the last 10 years. Jobs have left. Property costs have gone down. Value has gone down according to that. Safety is a concern for many, many, many of our residents. But I don't want to spend a whole lot of time dwelling on that, although that's important to understand when you start talking about a platform. You know, just because we've lived on an emotional roller coaster does not mean we have to. That's not the status quo. That's not who we can be. That's not who we should be. And so I'm running for mayor because I believe we need new leadership to bring people together, to focus on improving our daily lives, protecting our families, and enhancing our quality of life. You know, I've heard a lot of people say, you know, I think the city's on its last legs. And I gotta tell you, I don't see that at all. No. I don't think this is about race. I don't think this is about crime. I think this is about leadership. And I'm here to provide leadership, and I want to be the next mayor of the city of Rocky Mount. So I'm going to ask you to join me tonight in working together to build a better Rocky Mount, a future for our children, and opportunity for all. Many people and organizations are operating within our community and they're doing great things. Really are. I mean, I've seen Ron here, the Boys and Girls Club, and I've actually got a note here in my minutes. Don't mention any names because you're going to forget a lot of people. But so I'm just going to stop with that. But we've got a lot of organizations working on models that I believe will help and have helped Rocky Mount. I would like to see us work together, trying to be very efficient in the delivery of those services. And how do we do that as a team? How do we collectively help the situation? So my priorities as mayor of Rocky Mount first starts with jobs. And then it's about jobs. And then it's about more jobs. You see a pattern emerging, it's about jobs. You know, that's what we need to provide hope. Thank you. You know, I'm grateful to the Gateways Partnership. They have done a mammoth job of bringing a lot of jobs into our area, but we can't have enough jobs here in Rocky Mount, so we're going to work on that. That's priority number one. Now, you really can't talk about jobs unless you're talking about creating opportunity for everybody, every stakeholder, every shareholder, every citizen within the city of Rocky Mount. And that looks like coordinating educational opportunities. Now, I know that most municipalities really don't concern themselves as a practical matter with public education. But I'm telling you, these are different days and different times. I'm not sure what that collaboration looks like, but here's what I do know. That we've got to be supportive of our public education system. It looks like supporting our community college system and the universities within our community to help prepare everybody to be able to participate in these jobs that we've got to bring to town. The two go hand in hand. They're not if or. It's not a toggle switch. It's a combination of the two. And so I believe also that we need to talk about housing, because that's been a very hot topic. And I believe affordable housing is absolutely important. And I believe that we need housing for our seniors. And I believe that we need to have quality housing. I also believe that private enterprise should lead the way in that process. Because what that really means for us is that we're allowing somebody the opportunity to pay taxes in our community. And those taxes and that revenue help build. Now, I will be the first to tell you money does not fix everything. But it sure buys you enough time to figure out what's working and perhaps what's not. And again, bringing jobs, solidifying our economy, creating hope, I believe are the foundations of which we need to work through. Clearly, every municipal government, every municipality, every community in the country, the state, the county, crime is something that is an issue. And really what that means is we need to feel safe in our communities. Our neighborhoods need to be safe. That's what people want to live in. That's what's important to folks. I believe that crime oftentimes is linked to poverty. Oftentimes it is linked to undereducation. We have a community that approximately 25% of our population lives below the poverty line. And we've just got to fix that. It's to all of our benefits that we do that, and we create those opportunities. And did I mention that we need to bring more jobs to Rocky Mountain? If I can tell you only one thing, you leave me tonight with just one thought, know this: I believe that jobs are important for us. Okay, this is where Doug did y'all a favor. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. I really want to start with a little bit of a family history. And I'm sorry if this is going to bore you or not. And to my mom, my cousins, my children, I'm sure I get some of the facts wrong here, and I don't need a whole lot of correction on that. We'll deal with it Sunday at lunch after church, okay? So my mother is the product of two folks who moved to Rocky Mountain. She was born here, bred here, lived here, loves here, raised me here. And her father came to town to work for the railroad. Her mother came to town to work for the mills. And my grandfather, approximately 1909, was somewhere late teens, early 20s, decided he should go on strike with a lot of other railroad workers. Now, I'm confident that he believed that that was a principled stance, and I'm proud of him for doing that. He also owned up to the consequence of this. You see, this is before there was any National Labor Board. So he got fired. Now, the good news for Mom is she wasn't born at this time, but there were 4 other mouths that needed consideration to be fed, plus his wife, plus him. And so he realized that he was pretty handy. Ultimately ended up, developing a construction company, of which 2 of his sons came to work and created something that was probably far beyond what anybody imagined in those moments in that time. So, send you back to my father's family. He grew up on a farm in Martin County, North Carolina. As he used to say fondly, they were dirt-clod farmers. I still don't quite know what that means, but I'm guessing they had the best dirt clods in all of Martin County. So, in order for him to go to school, he was the youngest of 6. He had to work his way through school, and so he sharecropped tobacco on his father's farm to pay tuition. And then for spending money and room and board, he chilled fruits, grapes he would find at the edge of the field, and he would take it to the local tobacco market. The days before refrigeration, I'm told that they did exist. I fortunately don't know anything about that. But he sold those fruits, and that really is how he worked. So the moniker I'll give my father is a determined man and a godly man. So, fortunately, my mom and he met. They delivered me. So this is the legacy of the family which I grew up in, which I think is incredibly important. While maybe not the most famous family in the universe, perhaps maybe not as esteemed. What it was a family who cared one for the other, who taught their children and gave a work ethic that was incredibly important. And through that work ethic, there was an accountability. This is just a little aside, and it's actually not in my minutes, but I'm looking at my mom. She, her favorite saying, or it was in my house, trust, inspect what you expect. So Doug's right, I did walk the straight and narrow because there were a lot of inspections in my life. And also a lot of expectation came with that. So with that said, I believe I had the opportunity to go to senior high. Any Griffons in the room? Because that's... Graduated from Hampton-Sydney. Doug touched on my career, and through that process, I've been part of many startups and several operations, and none of that's particularly important other than for me to be able to convey this to you. I know what it's like to be a private investor sitting on the other side of the table, trying to work within the confines of a community. What's welcomed, what's not welcome, how do you blend and make the difference? And because of that experience, I believe I add a unique skill set, clearly through my experience, to be able to lead Rocky Mount in terms of that economic development and jobs creation. And so, with that said, I would like to be the mouthpiece for this community. I believe I'm qualified. And I believe I'm the guy you want at the table. So, here's what I know. We can own Rocky Mount. The citizens of Rocky Mount, when they work together, when we work together, will build something of tremendous progress and success. And so I'll encourage everybody to start tonight. I want to thank you for coming. As you know, we've got some sign-up cards and we have some information. I will be around for the rest of the evening and I would love to entertain questions. At the end of the day, and that's an often overused expression, but when it's all said and done, it's important that everything be a dialogue. It's important that we own Rocky Mount, both metaphorically and really. So I want to thank you so much for touching my heart, showing up on this cold, rainy night, and being here, and let us go win the mayor of Rocky Mount.